the last sight Commander Ziak expected, as the storm pierced Earth's skies, was a colossal banner that declared welcome to the fall of your invasion. For generations the Thaian Dominion had ruled as the supreme power in the galaxy, crushing weaker races and absorbing their resources to satisfy the Empire's endless craving for conquest. The Galactic Council had long warned humanity that their freedom was nearing its end. Yet mankind stayed unyielding, refusing assimilation with a defiance that bordered on reckless insanity. Commander Ziak had been chosen to lead the assault force, a fleet so immense it eclipsed the stars as it drew near Earth. The Thaians anticipated another swift, ruthless triumph like all their other subjugations, but from the moment their armada breached the atmosphere, something felt unsettling. Ziak's thoughts were cut short by the sudden rise of a gigantic, sleek warship erupting from Earth's surface, dwarfing the Thaian armada in both scale and sophistication. Its hull gleamed with technology even a veteran like Ziak could not identify. "Sir, we're picking up a massive energy surge from that vessel," Lieutenant Soul reported, his gaze fixed on the monitors. "It's unlike anything we've ever encountered before." Before Ziak could reply, a voice thundered through their comms, sharp and mocking. "This is Admiral Hayes of the Terran Defense Force. You've chosen the wrong world to attack." Hayes's words carried a calm sharpness, utterly unlike the usual begging or threats the Thaians had grown used to hearing. Ziak felt an alien sensation crawl through his veins. "Doubt, Admiral Hayes," Ziak answered, straining to hold control. "Surrender now, and your people will be spared. Resist, and you face extinction." Hayes laughed, the sound echoing across the bridge. "You mistake my intent, Commander. We're not here to parley. We've been waiting for this day. Welcome to Earth, the graveyard of your Empire." With that, the Terran ship unleashed a lance of energy that tore straight through the lead Thaian battleship, cleaving it into chaos erupted across the bridge as alarms wailed and officers scrambled. "Return fire," Ziak commanded, though he already knew it was pointless. The human vessel moved with precision and speed beyond anything known in interstellar warfare. The Thaian fleet retaliated, plasma fire igniting the void in dazzling storms, but the Terran warship danced through the onslaught, its shields effortlessly absorbing the barrage. More Terran vessels began rising from the planet, each one deadlier than the last. "Commander, we need to regroup," Zal shouted above the roar. Ziak's mandibles tightened. Retreat had never been an option for the Thaians, but this was different. This was a fight they could not win. "All ships withdraw to the rendezvous point," he ordered. "We must reform and reconsider." As the Thaian fleet scrambled to retreat, the Terrans did not chase. Instead, they remained hovering in perfect formation, a silent monument to their newfound supremacy aboard the flagship. Ziak stalked the command deck, his mind racing. "How did we misjudge them so completely?" he muttered. "Sir, it seems they've been advancing their technology in secret," Gull reported. "Our intelligence was outdated. This level of progress is unprecedented." Ziak's eyes narrowed. "Send word to the Emperor. We'll need reinforcements. This isn't a single battle anymore, it's survival itself." Yet, even as the command left his lips, a dark thought lingered. What if even reinforcements wouldn't be enough? What if humanity had already become the true power of the galaxy, a force the mighty Thaian Empire could never crush on Earth? Admiral Hayes studied the fleeing enemy. With a calm smile. "They'll return," he told Captain Roar, his trusted second, "and when they do, we'll be ready." Roar smirked. "They won't know what struck them. These energy weapons perform better than expected." "Indeed," Hayes answered, "but we mustn't grow careless. This was only the first wave. They'll return with heavier fleets. Greater firepower will show them Earth is no target to conquer, it is a fortress. Hayes turned from the command center, eyes fixed on the screen showing the retreating Thians. They thought us weak, ripe for conquest. Today they learned their mistake. The chamber fell into silence as Hayes departed, the burden of war heavy on his shoulders. The Thians had ignited this conflict, but it would be humanity that ended it. Earth was ready to fight and would not stop until the Empire knew the true cost of underestimation. The day humanity rose in defiance would be remembered as the turning point of a war destined to reshape the galaxy, and for the first time in history it was mankind who seized the upper hand. Reinforcements of the Threx arrived within days, a colossal armada that filled human sensors with endless data streams. Admiral Hayes stood firm on the bridge of the TDF Resolute, flagship of the Terran Defense Force, as his crew tracked the new arrival. Commander Ziak's warning must have been convincing. Captain Rohr muttered, eyes scanning the monitors. That's an enormous fleet. Hayes nodded, his expression grim. They won't make the same mistake again this time. They'll throw everything they hurled at us. As the Threxian fleet shifted into formation, Hayes turned to his comms officer. Transmit to all ships. We stand here, no withdrawals. This is our world and we will protect it. The answer came instantly, a chorus of firm acknowledgements across the Terran fleet. Every captain, every crewman understood the weight. This was no longer just about Earth, it was about humanity's future. In the stars, Commander Ziak stood aboard the Thian flagship, the Imperator, studying the Terran defenses. The humans had arrayed their vessels with skill, supported by planetary batteries and hidden technologies. They've built a formidable perimeter, Exal remarked. Piercing, it will bleed us dry. Ziak's mandibles clicked with irritation. Bleeding or not, we have no alternative. The Emperor demands triumph. Ready the armada for a full-scale strike. As the Thian fleet surged forward, the gulf between them and the Terrans exploded into chaos. Energy beams and plasma fire crisscrossed the void, carving the darkness with lethal brilliance. The Terrans countered with relentless fury, their ferocity catching even Ziak off guard. Aboard the Resolute, Hayes watched the Thian wave crash upon them. Release the drones, he ordered. Let's test our newest weapons from Terran hangars. Vast swarms of automated combat drones erupted outward, each armed with cutting-edge systems and self-guided AI. They sliced into Thian ranks with merciless precision. Lieutenant Kaminsky reported from his station, drone strikes are devastating their smaller ships, sir. Hayes nodded, keep the pressure steady. We must break their momentum. Aboard the Imperator, Ziak grasped the scale of human progress. Their drones are tearing us apart. Inkel reported, we must adjust quickly. Ziak barked orders, directing ships to concentrate fire on the drone clouds. Casualties among the swarms mounted, yet the Thian losses remained grievous. They counter every tactic. Ziak snarled, how did they rise this far this fast? We misjudged them, Zul replied. Now we suffer for it. Ziak knew he was right. This wasn't a mere skirmish, it was a trial of endurance, a duel of wills, and the humans were proving themselves unyielding. Back on Earth, billions watched the battle unfold. Every screen, every broadcast carrying the struggle. From bunkers and command hubs, global leaders coordinated strategies to support their fleet in orbit. In one underground command center, General Marcus Steele scanned the latest feeds. The Thians are committing everything, he said grimly, but our fleet still holds. Hayes and his men are buying us time, but how long? One officer asked. Their numbers are endless. Steele's eyes hardened. As long as it takes. We've sacrificed too much to lose now. Above, the fight tilted. The Terran fleet, though outnumbered, stood unbroken. Their cunning tactics And superior tech shifting the tide, sir. We pierced their second defense line. Kaminsky shouted, barely masking his excitement. They're falling back, Hayes allowed a thin smile. Good, maintain pressure. We must break their spirit on. The Imperator Ziak watched in disbelief as Thyan ships yielded. This is impossible, he muttered. How are they? Prevailing soul had no answer. The conquerors were suddenly the conquered. The battle dragged into hours, a brutal war of attrition, blood and steel spent in torrents, yet humanity's resolve remained untamed. Hayes sensed victory within reach, though the cost was rising. Admiral, multiple vessels critically damaged. Roar warned, we can't sustain this. Hayes's expression tightened. Pull the damaged ships to fallback positions. We'll shield them, we can't afford more losses. The Terrans adapted quickly, forming a shield wall while their crippled ships retreated. Sensing weakness, the Thyans hurled themselves at the breach. Kaminsky shouted, Admiral, they're concentrating fire on the Resolute. They want us broken. Hayes's eyes narrowed. Let them try. Ready close quarters defense as enemy warships closed in. The Resolute erupted in a storm of fire, its advanced weapon arrays cutting down Thyan ranks. The ship shook with relentless impacts, yet Hayes remained composed, issuing orders with calm authority. We don't fall today, he said, his voice steel. Aboard the Imperator Ziak felt the war slipping away. The humans fought like a tide, unyielding, unbreakable. Commander, we must withdraw, Zul urged, or be destroyed. Ziak's mandibles ground together. To retreat was dishonor to the Thyan Empire, yet the truth was carved into the data. Retreat, he admitted bitterly. Signal the fleet will regroup and return stronger. As the Threxian vessels pulled back, the Terrans held position, watching the invaders scatter aboard the Resolute. Hayes let out a breath of relief. We held them, Roar whispered in. Oh, we actually held them. Hayes nodded, but his tone was grave. This battle was ours. The war is far from finished. They'll return, and when they do, we'll be ready. As the remnants of the Thyan fleet vanished into the darkness, the Terran vessels regrouped, tending to the wounded and assessing the cost of the fight. It had been brutal, but humanity had shown its might across Earth. News of the victory spread and celebrations erupted. The untouchable Thyan Empire had suffered a staggering defeat. Humanity had risen to the challenge and triumphed. Yet in every heart lingered the truth. This was only the opening chapter. The true war was still ahead, and humanity would need every spark of genius and every ounce of strength to endure. Admiral Hayes gazed out at the stars, his thoughts already shaping plans for the next clash. The Thyans would surely return, but next time humanity would be even more prepared. This was their home, their world, and they would defend it to the very last breath. The day humanity answered had lit the spark of a conflict that would define the galaxy's future. And against impossible odds, mankind was ready. In the months following the first battle, humanity prepared tirelessly for the inevitable Thyan return. The Terran Defense Force expanded its fleets, adapting lessons from the engagement. Scientists and engineers worked without pause, creating weapons and systems even more advanced than before. Earth stood united as never in history, the threat of extinction forging an unbreakable bond. Admiral Hayes stood on the bridge of the newly forged TDF Resolute, to its angular, gleaming design a monument to human creativity and resolve. Captain Roar stood at his side, reviewing the latest scout reports. Significant Threxian activity on the edge of the system. Roar reported their gathering strength for another strike. Hayes nodded grimly. They are desperate. We struck them hard, but they will not stop until we are either broken or they are destroyed. This time humanity was prepared. The fleet had grown stronger with new vessels, outfitted with cutting-edge technology, some built from reverse-engineered Thion designs the Terran Defense Network, an array of orbital fortresses and planetary missile bastions, was fully armed, ready to unleash torrents of firepower upon any aggressor as the Thion fleet approached its sheer scale. With staggering thousands of warships, from swift fighters to colossal dreadnoughts poured into the void. All ships, this is Admiral Hayes, his voice echoed across the network. The Thions have returned, and this time they throw everything at us. Remember why we fight. This is our home, our future. We stand together, we fight together, and we will prevail. The enemy surged forward, and the battle ignited with a fury surpassing the first engagement. The Resolute II blazed with firepower, carving through enemy lines with merciless accuracy. Drones swarmed into the chaos, striking at key targets with precision. Sir, the orbital platforms are firing, roar reported, but they've brought more ships than expected. Hayes studied the tactical feed, the grim dance of blue and red icons hold formation. We cannot let them reach the planet. The clash grew savage, both sides paying in blood and steel. The Thions, driven by wrath, fought with ferocity equal to humanity's, yet for every human vessel lost, 2 Thion ships were annihilated. Admiral, boarding parties incoming. Kaminsky shouted, they are striking at command vessels. Hayes's eyes hardened. Repel them all. If they want this ship, they'll take it over my dead body. Deep in the Resolute II corridors, Threxian warriors poured through ruptures, clashing with human Marines in brutal close quarters struggles, but the Marines held fast, driving the intruders back with grit and tactical precision. In orbit, the battle raged on. The Terran fleet, despite being outnumbered, cut swaths through the invaders. Orbital batteries unleashed relentless barrages, guided systems tearing Thion ships apart. Admiral, transmission from the enemy flagship, roar said, stunned its commander. Ziak, patch him through. Hayes commanded. Ziak's face filled the screen, his fury barely contained. Admiral Hayes, your defiance is futile. Surrender now, and I will grant mercy to your kind. Hayes met his gaze, cold and unwavering. We've heard this before, Ziak. The answer remains no. This is our home, and we will never yield. Ziak's eyes burned. So be it, then you will know the full wrath of the Thion Empire. The feed cut, and the enemy intensified their assault, but humanity stood firm. The defense network and advanced tactics began to crush the enemy line. Admiral, they're pulling back, Kaminsky exclaimed. Hayes watched as the vast Thion fleet, now broken and depleted, retreated into the void. We did it, he whispered. We won. The remains of the invaders fled, leaving humanity victorious. Though scarred, the world rejoiced. Earth had endured, its spirit unbroken. In the weeks that followed, rebuilding began, fortifying defenses so that no future threat would ever surprise them again. In a grand ceremony at United Earth Command, Admiral Hayes stood before leaders and citizens. Today we are victorious, not through weapons or machines alone, but through our resolve. The Thions believed they could shatter us. Instead, they found the strength of the human spirit. We will not bow, we will not break, and we will never surrender. The crowd thundered in applause, a roar of unity and triumph. The day humanity answered had become a symbol of resilience, a beacon of hope, showing what could be achieved when mankind stood united. Hayes looked out over the cheering masses, knowing this victory was only the dawn. The galaxy had learned to respect and fear Earth, and humanity's place among the stars was now unchallenged.